So it is true that males and females that are very skilled in the realm of seduction oftentimes operate very, very discreetly. And one of the reasons for this is because a lot of the times they want to keep their image, whether it's males or females, they want to keep their image. But in this video today, specifically, what I'm going to be talking about is how high level Jezebels will operate in the shadows. Now, for those that are not familiar, my name is Thaddeus, and this is the Regal Change YouTube channel. And the reason that I want to talk about this subject is because I wasn't always the kind of guy that women found attractive, generally speaking. I wasn't a quote unquote select man. I was never that guy. In fact, I was pretty much invisible to women up until I was about 22, 23. Even though I had some experiences with women and there was a lot of different kinds of experiences that I had, most of the time I was the friend, quote unquote. I was just the friend. And I got to learn a lot about how women operate and what exactly women can be like, and just how crazy some women can really be, and how open they are to breaking rules, quote unquote rules, for certain guys that they find very attractive. I have plenty of stories, but for the purposes of this video here, the reason that I want to talk about how Jezebels, high-level Jezebels, operate in the shadows is because a lot of the times these high-level Jezebels are already in relationships. They are already married. They are already have boyfriend or something like that. They're already talking to other guys, whatever the case may be. And I've had women, specifically within the last 2 years, more so within the last year, it's almost like I'm seeing into the shadow seduction world at a deeper level that's always been there, in that I could see that it's been there, but I haven't experienced it until the last 2 years. And there was always some kind of form of understanding of what this world was like in the back of my mind, but to experience it as a man is that other women want as well, is something completely different. And it gives me a very insightful understanding of what women are actually trying to do, because I've had women try to compete for my attention and resources just so that they can try to possess me. I mean, these were high-level Jezebel spirits where they already had boyfriends. And they were trying to convince me and subtly and seduce me subtly, because this is a thing that a lot of men don't understand. And I didn't get it until like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm 27 now. And I didn't understand this until about 3 or 4 years ago, that women are very, very aggressive toward the men that they actually want. And women are actually going to act single, even if they have a boyfriend or something, just so that they can get your attention and just so that they can get your time and energy, because you make them feel alive. Especially if you are a man that is on semen retention, if you are a man that is on a form of celibacy, it's almost like you just attract a wide variety of women, and not all of them are going to be women that are for you. And you're going to have the ability to say no, and that's your ability as a superpower as a man, is to say no to some of these women. But one thing that I've learned is that being discreet, even just within everything that you do and about what you do, is going to grant you a variety of blessings and a variety of understandings of the world and realizations that may not have been there if you were not discreet. So That's why I think these high level Jezebels specifically understand the value of discreetness. I mean, I've had women that, again, they're married and they are openly trying to seduce me. And at first I was kind of irritated and I was kind of like, what the hell are these women doing? Like, what are, like, they are literally in a relationship. They are literally married. And now I have a different kind of approach with it because I've had a lot of different experiences, especially recently. There was one in specific around December, just a few months or just a couple months ago rather. And I'm not going to get into the details, but at least not on YouTube here. But essentially, there was a woman, there was a different woman that was acting like she was single, and we were talking, and this was a woman that she just completely she was married, and she basically hid that information from me because she just wanted to have me. Like, she wanted to. A lot of these women, you know, the song "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." I think that's actually very true. That's actually very true. And I'm not irritated at the women that are married and that are in relationships and that want the quote unquote select man or the high value man anymore. And the reason that I'm not upset with it because I understand it. It's kind of like, imagine a man, you as a man watching this video, if you're a man watching this video, that is, imagine you are going your whole life, you only thought that you had access to a certain caliber of women. And then all of a sudden, there's a new woman in town, and she's a different kind of caliber, and she's a different kind of attractive than you've ever seen. Like, you have not seen this. Like, imagine a world where social media doesn't exist. Like, there's nothing like that, okay? Just like 200 years ago, let's say. And there's all of a sudden this woman in your town. And do you not think that every man is going to want that kind of attractive woman that just shows up and she's something else, right? She is the most attractive woman you've ever seen. You didn't even know that women could be this attractive. That's sometimes, in some sense, the reflection of how some of these women feel about you as a select man or as a true godly man. In the Bible, it says in Isaiah 4:1, it says that there will be 7 women that cling unto the godly man, saying, we will make our own bread, we will have our own clothing, let us just be called by your name. And what that is really suggesting, I genuinely think that, because this is like, in that Bible verse, it's saying that it's the end of times is when that's going to happen. I genuinely think that what that really means is that you can look at it in a different couple perspectives, but it could also mean that once you get to the point to where you are truly on the righteous path, you are truly able to naturally arouse women, because really arousal is what it's coming down to with women. It's about arousing them through their mind, or almost like tickling their emotions. When you can get to that point as a man, when you can understand that this is something that how do I say this without giving away too much? It's like you understand that it's a dark power that you can have as a man, and that it takes a sexual discipline to not overly act on that. Because if I really wanted to, I mean, there's plenty of women that are already in relationships that would want to just, they would be okay with me just using them. Like, pretty much a woman has told me that. So like that's crazy to me how they're just like, yeah, do whatever you want with me. Like do whatever. As a man that has seen both sides of the coin, this is astounding. Like this is astounding. But I also understand that a lot of quote unquote true players, let's say, I don't like the term player, but let's just call it what it is. A lot of true players, both males and females, understand that like they've actually had this going on with them for a long time. And I think you can always develop this seduction skill, because what it really comes down to also is just being able to talk. Like there's been women that have just said that to me that they just love to listen to me. They don't even care what we're talking, like what I'm talking about, what we're talking about. They just want to hear me talk, because I'm not someone that speaks a lot. I'm someone that generally I'm pretty quiet. And it's only been the last few weeks where I've really started to amp up my social soft skills. And I'm realizing now is like there's a lot of different people, specifically the Jezebels out here, that want to perform this image of innocence, while with you as a select man, quote unquote, with you, they're willing to do whatever thing that you want. And this is like, it's wild, because a lot of these women are still acting like they're single. Like you would never really know that they have a boyfriend. I remember, I mean, it's not even remembering. It was just like yesterday, actually, literally yesterday. I was walking by in the gym on my way back to the weights after I went to the restroom, and there was a woman who I've seen with a man like almost all the time in the mornings. And the man that she was with, I can tell like how do you say this? You can kind of tell if a couple is being intimate or not, right? You can kind of tell if a couple is together or they're not really having it, right? They're not really engaged in a active, healthy, intimate relationship. They're just kind of together. They're not together. They're just kind of together. And that was kind of the frame of this relationship. And this woman has tried to give me the bedroom eyes before, and I knew that she's in a relationship, so I'm the kind of guy that just I steer clear. I'm not about that. I don't want to participate in relationships, or I don't want to participate with women that are already in relationships. I don't do that kind of stuff. And what I found also is that the women in relationships, whether married or not, they're the ones that want to have the most promiscuous fun the most. It's really wild. But I think it's a lot of the times because they're wanting some kind of new thrill. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's bad the way that they're going about it. I don't think that's the right kind of way to go about things. You should talk to your husband about that, woman. Like, you should talk to your husband about that. But anyway, I was walking past on my way back to the weights, and this woman is talking to another guy. And the guy's asking her where her man is. And she said, well, he's on a cleanse. He's on a cleanse. I told him that he should still come to the gym, but the cleanse doesn't make him go to the gym, so he's not going. And so you could tell like the bitterness. And she's like, I'm pretty sure she's younger than me. And the guy, I'm pretty sure, is younger than me as well. But like, this is a relationship. And the woman is talking to this other guy about her relationship problems. It's like, wow, that's a Jezebel. That's a Jezebel, man. The Jezebels out here are willing to kill, steal, and destroy. That's the Jezebel spirit. That's the Jezebel. And unfortunately, that's a lot of modern women nowadays. And so this woman right here, I would not classify her as a high-level Jezebel. She's just a Jezebel. This kind of woman that I just referred to. No, not a high-level Jezebel. Still a Jezebel, but she's not a high level. There was another high-level Jezebel that I happened to communicate with like a year and a half ago. I wasn't like actively pursuing her or anything, but she was definitely a high-level Jezebel. Even just being around her, I could feel my knees. It wasn't like I was weak in the knees, like in a good way. It was more like my nervous system was warning me that I need to go into fight or flight. Like, this woman is dangerous. And that was something I had experienced only a couple times before, but this one was on a whole nother level. And some people that have watched all of my videos might know this story a little bit, but this was one of the women that came to my door with wine bottles. This was like around Halloween a year and a half ago. And at the time I was working on stuff. And so when she knocked on my door, and I just answered the door, and I didn't even know like who she was really. Like, I didn't really know who she was, but I wouldn't necessarily classify it as stalking, but she definitely tried to plant herself in positions to where I would be talking to her, and she would even try to invite me to like parties or whatever, and they would intentionally try to provoke me with like playing music outside my door and such. Like, it was weird, like, because her and her friends would be doing this stuff. But it was like, and she was very attractive, and she knew it. Like, she definitely knew it. But she was someone that obviously knew what she was doing, and she would, like, if anybody had asked like what was going on, like, she would be able to play it off. Like, I could tell that she was just the kind of woman that would be able to play it off as if like she's completely innocent. And wow, like, I didn't know that kind of attitude. And these kinds of high level Jezebel spirits, they will do anything to try to just stop your growth. That's really what the Jezebel tries to do, is to stop your growth altogether. And so you've got to learn that even though like this woman, she was operating a little bit openly, it was like her true intentions were obviously super discreet. And I mean, that's just how things go, right? Like that's just how things happen. So just be careful out here and understand that sometimes it's better to operate in the shadows as a male or female. Like, know the shadows, know the darkness. But at other times, you've got to be sure that you got to be transparent. Like, a truly good man or woman is transparent. And that doesn't mean you have to say everything about yourself to everybody. You don't need to blab about everything going on in your life, but you are transparent. And that's going to be a very important quality to have. And yeah, I mean, these kinds of Jezebels, man, especially the married ones. Like, I have empathy for the husbands, because they have they're clueless. Like, they're clueless, man. Like, there's been women that have been openly checking me out next to her husband or whoever it was. I didn't know if it was her husband or her boyfriend or whoever, but openly checking me out, like looking me up and down like I'm a piece of meat walking by. And husband just, well, like he is just off in la la land. He is not present at all. And it's like, well, that's why the Jezebel wants to control the man, and the man is controlled in that situation for sure. So be careful out here, men. Be weary, be open-eyed, keep your eyes peeled, and make sure that you're listening, even in the discreetness and this, because indirectness can be, and insinuation can be very, it can be very important in establishing a sense of where the reality of the situation really is. Because once you get to a level of spiritual awareness, there's almost like you're aware of the face-to-face reality. You're aware of your subconscious and their subconscious reality. And then you're aware of like the situation as a whole, collective unconscious and collective conscious wise. And so when you get to the point to where you are spiritually attuned to that degree, you're going to have a much greater understanding of how to really move, but it's going to take experience. This is not something that you can intellectualize. And I learned this within the last like 3 or 4 years. I thought I could intellectualize this stuff. I thought that if I learned about female nature, quote unquote, I would be able to maneuver right. But that's not the case. You have to have the experience. You must have the experience. And when you're dealing with high-level Jezebels, yeah, you gotta watch out for the Jezebel, because she can get you, man, if you're not careful. But with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.